My name's Tim Marsden and I'm Industrial Projects Executive at the British Plastics Federation. I'm going to be talking about government and industry working in tandem. How government can help foster innovation and develop innovation in the UK industry especially, but also across the European Union. So, a little bit of background to start with. The European plastics industry, there are more than 37,000 companies involved. About 35 million tonnes of plastic products produced each year. The SMEs representing approximately 98% of those SMEs. So clearly, SMEs are a fundamental part of the industry that need to develop and innovate to stay ahead of the game. In terms of the UK industry, well, material processed approximately 5 million tonnes. Plastic material produced about 2.5 million tonnes. About 7,500 companies specifically in the UK plastics processing sector. Size of the UK industry, well, I've put the major industries up there. Injection moulders have the highest number of companies involved. I've not put any machinery or ancillary companies down, fabricators, machinery people down. In terms of where the plastics products go, well, a major part of the plastics industry and their products goes into construction, 22%, and packaging, 38%. This is about the British Plastics Federation. Well, we are the longest established plastics trade federation in the world. We were established in 1933 with a mandate to promote plastic innovation and promote plastics across all sectors. Currently we have 14 research and development projects. We're fairly unique in Europe in terms of our membership base. We are fairly diverse, from raw material producers to processors, right through to recyclers. We represent about 75% of industry by turnover and have approximately 400 direct members. So, government and industry cooperation. It's essential that the SMEs develop and stay one step ahead, or try to stay one step ahead of their competitors. In SMEs, it's fundamental. There's an increased demand from clients for product stewardship and responsible sourcing of products. In the UK we have the British standard in development for responsible sourcing. I think most of us are probably aware of the FSC mark used for timber. The standard in development with British standards will look to do similar for the plastic sector. Of course, there's a focus on energy consumption and benchmarking. How can you reduce your energy footprint and carbon footprint? There's an expectation for government to provide an innovative network opportunity, not just through providing less red tape, but also through provision of finance. As I mentioned, the BPF looks after approximately 14 research and development innovation projects with a main objective to increase energy awareness, decreasing environmental impact, and increase competitiveness. I'll go through these relatively quickly just to show what all of them do. Some of them are broadly materials based, some of them are more specific to the moulding sector, for instance. As you can see, energy usage is a fairly fundamental part of the plastics industry, with the forming and moulding industries using the most energy of all the major plastic processes. So, Enerplast, one of our more broader plastics innovation projects to help industry understand the use of energy and understand their carbon footprinting. A recent survey of approximately 250 companies across the European Union found that 74% of firms have an energy policy, which is good. 3/4 have an energy policy. But only 61% don't have an energy manager. So 61% of companies perhaps aren't able to implement energy efficient technologies and processes in the way that they perhaps should be. 60% are aware of energy legislation affecting the European industry, but that's still 40% that aren't aware of the energy legislation and how it could impact on their business. In terms of how legislation does impact on their business, 63% believe that profit drives the policy on energy, 23% believe conscience, and only 14% believe that legislation had an impact on the energy saving. So clearly there's some work to do in terms of promoting legislation and how companies can implement the policies. One of the ways with the Energy Class project is we've produced a European best practice guide which goes through the major processes, extrusion, forming, moulding, to look at ways of improving energy efficiency. And that's downloadable from the project website, which is free to download. Taking this one step further, a relatively new project is called EU Plus Voltage. It's an innovative project to try and get the European plastics industry to sign a voluntary agreement to reduce the energy consumption in the sector. The EU has broadly an objective to reduce energy by 20% by 2020. That's across all sectors. And this voluntary agreement would set the way for the plastics industry to meet that target. We're hoping to have this in place by 2011. The project is being led by EUPC, which is the European Trade Association for the plastic converting industry. Rotoflex. This project is about 6 months old. It's focuses on rotational moulding and looks to increase the energy efficiencies in the rotational moulding sector. Approximately 750,000 tonnes of CO2 produced by the rotational moulding sector each year. So this project will look to develop an automated feed system for polymers, additives, coolants, which is retrofittable to machines, so that companies can improve the energy efficiency of the machines. Rotofast, again, another rotational moulding project which is due to start Q1 2010. The rotational market is worth up to 264,000 tonnes across the EU each year, and this project will look to develop new cooling techniques using special liquids to reduce cooling times by approximately 20%. The cooling times are key to reducing energy. Reheat. This project is coming towards an end. It was a UK-funded Technology Strategy Board project looking to reduce energy usage by 10% in the injection moulding industry. The idea was to take waste heat and put it back into another useful process at about 60 degrees. So take the waste heat and put it into heating the tool or heating the pollen prior to processing. If anybody would like some more information about this project, I've got some on the British Plastics Federation stand in the main hall.